Hey guys, welcome back to Mr. and Mrs. Magic Under the Moon. As always, I am Mr. Magic.
I'm still Bella Luna, Mrs. Magic. So we actually got to talking, which is usually what happens, about being a couple that actually we both practice. We practice together. And so we kind of want to talk about that and tell you a little bit about some of our experiences and what it's like to have a significant other that also practices magic.
There's some positives, there's some negatives. The positives of having a significant other that also practices is that you can practice and do workings together, which we love doing workings together because it amplifies both of our magics
Yeah.
and unifies them together.
And you can feel it. You
Yeah.
can really feel it. So there was a time where we went to where was it in Pennsylvania? The spring or whatever.
Oh, it's Creek.
Creek, yeah.
Yeah, it was the old shit creek out back of town.
The what?
The shit creek. They call it that because of the color of the water.
Uh,
It's shit brown because of the coal sediment down at the bottom.
and for those who are not of it's creek.
No, it's creek.
Okay. We did a working, it was at nighttime. It was intense.
It was powerful.
We didn't even have like anything to drink, anything that would put us under the influence. And when we
Actually, we did. We had those little wine glass bottles. Those
oh,
little single serving bottles.
but it wasn't enough to sit there and make us like freaking drunk off our ass. But
Yeah, and we were stumbling back up the back.
yeah, when we left there, we were just like euphoric. It was pretty amazing. It was pretty
It
amazing.
was, yeah.
Another time we did a working together, and it was a form of sex magic, and that came to fruition the next day.
Yeah, it did. She got a new job.
Yeah, it was for a new job, and I had interviewed for that job. I hadn't heard anything, and so I asked him to help, and next day I
They
got
told her.
yeah. So I mean, and I'm not saying, disclaimer here, that's not always going to happen, regardless of how close you are with your partners. It just, um, we happen to be very successful for that one.
And it was surprising because that was actually the job that allowed us to see each other more frequently.
Yeah. And that's why I wanted that job. Yeah.
It was a travel position.
It was a game changer of a job. It was definitely, it wasn't just a job. It was very pivotal.
Having a partner who practices magic as well as you do, is beneficial in a few ways. One of them being that you can learn from each other. Like, she's taught me a lot, and I've probably taught her a lot too.
So that's the beauty, of this walk of life is that we are eternal students. And so it doesn't matter how long one or the other has been practicing. There's always something to learn. And watching how he practices and the things that what he may focus on that I wouldn't have thought about to focus on, or vice versa, that I think we work often synergistically and we're able to kind of, build off of each other's ideas.
Working well together with your partner is an amazing thing, not just magically, but relationship wise, in the mundane things. It can be awesome at times, but it can also be super annoying because the mundane things get in the way of the magical things.
Yeah, so really setting those boundaries, uh, that's probably harder for me than it is for him. Because we'll be sitting in here, coming in here to maybe do a working or do something. And well, like he said, we've got to clean this up first and we've got to put this away. And like we can't start until the mundane stuff is taken care of. Now, I don't know if that throws him off. For me, that puts me in the headspace that I need. I may be throwing him off when I do that.
It definitely throws me off, especially when I want to just get in here, do my working, and then get out. So that way then I can go off and do other things because there's other stuff that I want to rush off and do. Another thing is that you shouldn't use things that you use in magical workings in regular mundane things. And she gets on me a lot about that because I use spices and herbs from our apothecary back here in the kitchen.
Yeah, I'm a huge stickler about that because I feel like when the things that we have in here have been used for magical purposes only. And so yes, we pull out the specific energies that we need for our specific working, but at the same time, I feel like we have nurtured this environment for energy work, for spell work, for magical workings, and so I get a little concerned moving it back and forth for mundane stuff, especially with his cooking, because he does a lot of kitchen magic too. And so I don't want him to inadvertently send something, potentially negative into something we're about to eat. Um, I don't think that he would necessarily be able to do that accidentally, but I don't know. Kind of paranoid when it comes to that. So yeah, my preference is to leave it separate.
And it's not just about the energies moving back and forth, it's also about moving the energies from one space into another. Like in the kitchen, that's my favorite room of the house because I do a lot in the kitchen. And in here, there's different things that get done in here. So healing and, focus and other stuff goes on in the kitchen. While in here, it's all baneful and focused and
For him.
measured a certain way. And
Yeah.
everything is so precise and punctual, I guess you could say.
That's
That
right. That's right.
moving energies from one room to another. I get why she's a stickler about it.
It's just a pain in his ass.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and recently, Maestro has finally reached the age where he can come and go in and out of this room as he pleases.
And as a reminder, any of you may not realize, Maestro is our male German Shepherd. He's what, 3 years old now?
Yeah, he just turned 3 last month.
And so that was, I think he's never outright said it, but I think he was a little disappointed when Maestro first came into our lives. He was a puppy, he was rambunctious, he was crazy, he's still crazy. Where I was like, he's not coming in here. His his energies are way too scattered. He's way all over the place. And so, but he's now at a point where,
He's mellowing out.
I don't know about totally mellowing out, but
Yeah, but he has these moments where he can lay down
yeah,
and stay
his
still.
energies are definitely more stabilized.
Yeah.
Where, he's more than welcome in here now. But it took a couple, 3 years to get there.
Yeah.
And I don't think Mr. Clyde handled that very well.
I did not, because that was my baby.
He still is your baby.
Yes, he still is my baby, even though he's a big baby now.
And on that note, we took in a dog who was being fostered across the street, who's a female shepherd, and she came in right away. But I felt in tune with her energies, and we're very connected. We're like attached at the hip, kind of literally. And so I'm sure that kind of rubbed him the wrong way also. But
Yeah, it kind of did. It kind of did. I'm not gonna lie, it kind of did. There's also some really heavy drawbacks. Like, for instance, sharing a space can be rather annoying. I mean, that having to share space with somebody, like your own sacred space, having to welcome someone into that.
yeah. Yeah. So we do share this space, and for the most part it works really well, but sometimes it can be a little bit challenging. Sometimes he brings in energies that I don't want in here, or and vice versa. I'm sure that I bring in energies that he would prefer not to have in here. So that poses a challenge. And we have our ancestor space that we showed you when we did the altar room tour. But obviously, we can't use it at the same time. I mean, I suppose we could, but that would be weird
And it'd be tight.
and tight. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a very personal experience. So to share that space, we basically need to just take turns, which is fine because he's probably done more work with that than I have lately, which is bad on me. But
It can be very complicated sharing a space with your partner, especially when one does what I do, because I leave stuff strewn about sometimes, and I leave a mess in here, and she gets on me all the time about it. Like, you can't be doing that.
yeah, I'm very, very protective of our space. I feel like everything that we do in here, generates the different energies. And so leaving things in disarray sometimes is, for me, not the right energies that I feel should be in this space. I think one of the things that I appreciate the most about having a partner that practices is that I have nothing to hide. And that I absolutely love. Not only do I have nothing to hide, but I also have someone I can bounce ideas off of for the vast majority of my life where I've considered myself a practitioner. That's 2, 3 decades worth of me doing this all by myself, all by my lonesome, keeping it from everybody. It's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, and I can actually have my stuff out in the open, in a room, without having to lock it away in the closet.
It's amazing to be able to be your full self.
Being together not only enhances your own energies, but it also enhances your partner's energies, especially when you share, whether it be a space, a room, magics, passion, whatever. It strengthens not only yourself, but also the bond that you have together.
And the spiritual bond.
Yeah. There's a familiarity between us. Not only two souls that recognize each other from multiple lives over centuries, but also a deeper connection than most people have together. As you know, I am a Wolfarian, and with that comes a lot of strife and a lot of stress and a lot of unneeded anxieties. But also, there's something else that comes with it. I am her familiar. And I feel like it's important that you guys know that so that then it gives you an insight into what we do together.
And I want to stop right there and just have some clarification because, that may turn off a lot of you guys when you hear that. Like, oh, that's impossible. That's silly. Um, you remember familiars are not what a lot of people talk about. Oh, my cat's my familiar. Oh, my dog's my familiar. No, it's spiritual. Your familiar is spiritual. So I feel it's a connection with his wolf spirit. And so I just want to make that clear. We're not this isn't role play or anything like that. I did a lot of soul searching and thinking about this.
And she originally didn't even want to talk about that.
But like I said, when we really started talking about it, thinking about it, really looking at how we were practicing, how I look to him to enhance my energies, my focus. It makes sense. It makes sense to us. So really we just wanted to share that with you just because, we're feeling mushy. So we want to share with you. And would love to actually hear if there's any of you out there that also have a partner that you practice with or that you feel like you can practice with, or are you going down the same pathway together, discovering magical practice? Love to hear that. But I really think it's going to open up doors and opportunities that I think the average couple wouldn't necessarily be able to experience.
Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoy it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Toodaloo.